The other thing would be body language, and this is a big one for me. And a lot of people would think like, "Oh, okay, body language. How big of a deal is it?" It's actually huge. And it comes out in a lot of different ways. So body language is a reflection of your attitude, right? It's if you have good body language, you don't never look defeated, and if you have bad body language, it looks like the other team can own you. So like a couple simple examples of bad body language is when things don't go your way. It's the stick slam. It's the shrugging of the shoulders or the leaning back, like everything sucks right now. And it's like when you show that, you show like your mind is weak, right? And it shows like the other team that okay, we've got this guy now because he's flustered. And the other thing that it shows that your focus is on you rather than necessarily the team, right? Because typically what it is if you don't get a good pass and you give the bad body language, that's because you're not happy with the result that you're getting, rather than just keep working, right? So that would be one, and then the other sign of body language would be on the bench is when guys sulk, shoulders shrug, uh, and they're not in the game with their team because they're having a pity party with themselves. It shows in the and there's make no mistake. Let's talk to a couple of scouts that sometimes sit directly or oftentimes sit directly or stand directly across from benches just to watch body language because it reveals a lot of a player. Like if a player has a great shift, right, you're gonna come back to the bench and he's like, "Let's go, boys," because he's enthusiastic and we're having a great game. It's easy to be enthusiastic and fist pump and like everything's going well. And and you take that same person when things aren't going well or they had a bad shift, made a mistake, got scored on, missed a goal, got hit, dirty, whatever, and they come back to the bench and their demeanor changes and they go into sulk mode. That goes into your attitude, right? It's like it's always about you,
Yep.
and it shows. So the bottom line with that is it if someone's watching you, whether it's a coach, mom, dad, scout, anybody, if they watch that, it's like it reflects a poor attitude and a weak mental state. To be honest with you, because what you're doing is you're focusing on what happened and you're dwelling on it for too long, so it takes you in a mental state that is not good for performance.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is you're putting that on other people. Now other people choose whether they want to accept that attitude or not. But like we're talking younger kids, it's like they don't necessarily know how to deal with that, right?
Yep.
But you take that attitude and you throw it on other people. That's not healthy for your team. So when people are watching you, or even a coach that's tuned in and dialed in and watches his bench and he sees someone with bad body language, it's like it's not a good thing. And coaches should be somewhat aware that player might not be the right guy to be putting on the ice right now, or at least need to be talked to.
Yeah.
And not yelled at, but spoken to, like snap out of it, bad body language. And it's really important.
I think that, man, this is one of the biggest things that I key in on when I'm watching kids. So, example from the tournament actually. So it was the 09 age, so U14. So there's a team that threw like 3-on-3 for nothing, like fun tournament, right? Doesn't mean anything. So, but when you're kids, it means something though. So this is where you can see how kids react to certain situations, right? So we had this one team, they had won every single game up to the finals. Another team had lost a game, then won a couple games, whatever. So it was these two teams in the finals, and they were buddies, right? So they were on the same actual AAA team, but they were on different teams for the final of this tournament. And this was the first game where the one team was behind and they were losing. And you started to see what comes out when we're in a bad situation. And it is one of the most unattractive things that I can see in a player is when they turn into like a suck. And you use the word their demeanor changes. I wrote down like there's a change in their tone. So now the team environment changes. And I think that's why it's such a problem. And you can't underestimate how important it is because it's cancer. It spreads so fast because not only will other kids also potentially get down, the kids that don't and still maintain a good attitude look at you like you're a pain in the ass, right? So it's cancerous in that it spreads through the team, and if it doesn't, it divides the team because the guys that are trying to keep the good attitude look at you like you're a problem, right? So that's a really important thing to key in on with yourself, because when things start to get tough, if you turn into a baby and you're complaining or whining or it's somebody else's fault or you start yelling at each other, all those types of things, people pick up on that. I was picking up on it in a 3-on-3 tournament. That means nothing. I'm watching it and I'm getting annoyed when I'm watching these kids. Like when kids are sucky and they have that sucky attitude and whether they're down a goal or whatever the reason is, that is one of the most annoying and irritating things to me if I'm like in a coaching role or in a role where I have some kind of say over what the kids are doing. It's so annoying, man.
Yeah, it's the worst.
And it makes
I
me
don't
not
like it.
want to help you as a
It
player.
makes it very tough.
And I think that's why it's really important to have an environment where that's not allowed. And that's one thing I'm really proud of with what we create here, is like that is not allowed when you're here. As soon as that creeps in, even a slip, it's like right away, like we are stomping that out. Like figure it out, quit being a suck. And I had a really good talk with one of our junior guys that comes in here, because he was having some issues with like playing time, whatever, and then he might be going to a different team. And he was talking to me about it. And I remember he walked out after talking with some of their team staff, and he was crying about like what was going on. And I was so proud of him because he was really upset, which was fine. Like you can be upset. And I talked to him like in the moments after and was just like, hey, like nothing has to change unless you decide it's going to change. Like nothing, all the processes you have in place, you can keep working hard, you keep working out, you keep trying to get better, you keep trying to progress to achieve the next goal that you have. All that can stay the same unless you mentally let it be different than that, you know? And he texted me a couple days later and was like, hey, like, this is what I've decided. This is what I'm doing. I made a plan. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep everything going. I'll see you in the gym on Monday. Beautiful. Beautiful. And this is a kid. He's 17 years old, this kid, you know? And it's awesome to see. And you can really fix that, because that even more reinforces me wanting to help get this kid into the position he wants to be in, you know? So it's a really, really important thing. It can't be understated how important that is.
Yeah. Well, the body language, even with goals, as I was talking about, the goal celebrations,
Yep.
when you do that, look at me, look what I did. That's a really self-centered way of celebrating a goal. And I know guys are happy, but if you look at it from like, think about it, if you're watching a hockey game and you see someone score, and of course you're putting your arms up and you're excited, like you are excited, but how do you respond to your goal? Like you said, you've done it before. Like that's a very common statement. It looked like you've done it before, but it's very true. It's not like your emotions are weighed right out of you you scored a third goal of a 3-1. Well, it doesn't matter what goal it is. It's like, okay, you scored a goal. Like it's like freaking right. You're happy and you're good and you're thanking your teammates and you know, we're in it together. But your demeanor's not like off the charts.
Yeah.
That it changes everything about you. Right. Like, and now you're all giddy and it's like, okay, scored a goal. That's perfect. Right.